Hello everyone and welcome to the third episode of my HTML series. And today I'll be showing you the image tag and the link, or not a link tag, it's necessarily not called links, but how to add links to your website, because a link tag is a different thing, but how to add links. So let's just quickly jump into the video and do some image tags. And what we get when we create one, if we don't type it manually, we'll get a source and a alt. The source is where we put the link, so you can go to like any Google image and then just right click it and then copy image link, copy and paste it inside of here, and that image will show. You can also do what I have done, which is I've created a folder inside of my Visual Studio Code where I stored this image. And to access that, I have to do the path to that instead. So I'll have to do slash images slash Japan. Oh, misspelled it. Japan.jpg. And now we have the link. So if I control S, we're gonna have an image. It's a bit too big, but I'll fix that later on. Then we have the alt tag, or not alt tag, alt attribute, which is gonna tell us we're gonna add a description to our image, because sometimes the image might not load, and then you will want to have some text explaining what the image would have been if it existed. And also, if someone is blind and they're like having someone read the website for them, they can't see the image. So instead, the alt tag or the alt attribute is just gonna say the alt thing here to describe what the image actually is. So a Japanese, oh wait, lights unevenly outside a Japanese store. That should be fine. That's an alt tag, and you're not gonna see it on the website, but if the image doesn't load, it's gonna work as a saver. And then there's also one thing we want to do, since we can't really see the image. We're gonna add width, and we're gonna put it to 600, which is in pixels. And when we save, the image is gonna be a lot smaller now. The width thing you don't necessarily have to use unless you're not using any CSS, which I'm not doing right now because I'm just trying to teach you how to use images without any CSS or anything like that. So that's just how the image tag works. And then I also want to point out something important, that if you don't have the image downloaded and use it from a website, uh, you could technically have the owner of the website that you're taking it from remove the image, which means your image you have on your website would also disappear. So I would most definitely, if you have a website where you want the images to be the same, guaranteed, you download the image, you put it in your own project file, and then you link it inside of your project instead. Because then you're not relying on anyone else removing the image. Also, you'd have to be careful with images, because you might not be allowed to use them freely, and you don't want to get into trouble. But for like a private project, I don't think using images would mean anything, because you don't necessarily earning any money off it or anything like that. So what you're making is you're trying to learn, use any image you want. If you want to make it professional, you're gonna have to make sure the images are allowed. Also, one thing more that's important, that if you're making a website just to learn, you can use PNG and JPEG as your picture formats, because that's totally fair. You want to make sure it's not too big in size, because then it's going to be unbearable to load. But if you're in a professional matter, you actually want to use WebP and AVIF, and only JPEG. No, wait, only PNG if you have a transparent background on the image, and you don't want too many of them, because these, when you have a lot of images on a web page, if you have too many big files, it's going to take forever to load, and that's very important because customers might just leave the website because it's taking way too long to load. It's super important to optimize your images by compressing them and having the correct picture format, but that's only if you're actually trying to make a professional website, and otherwise you're gonna be totally fine using PNG and JPEG because you're not really gonna notice it if you're just making a small project on your own. Also, you don't have to worry about copyright. But that's all for image tags. Let's move on to the link tag instead. So what I'm gonna do actually is type just a small a and tab, and that's how you make a link tab. And it's not actually a link tag. It's a bit confusing because there is a tag called linked, but I mean link, but it's not the same thing. It's a bit different. So you want to use the a tag if you want to add a link, and the href is just where you put the link, and you're gonna have to put the full link if you want it to work. You have to put every single part of it, and you can also click Control click and on your link to see if it works, and you can see that it works. So all we have to do now is inside of these crocodile mouths we have to put what is gonna be the visible part on the website. So for example, click this epic link, and then when we Control S, we're gonna have a button that says click, or not a button, but a link that says click this epic link. And also you can see that they are next to each other instead. That's because images work a bit different on websites, but there's a simple solution you can do right now. This I wouldn't recommend doing most of the time when you know CSS, but in HTML it's completely fine to just do a BR tag, which doesn't need any closing or anything. You just write this on a row, and it's gonna make the link appear one row up below this. So just a blank space, and so you can have it on the below each other instead of next to each other. And also when you click the link, it's going to open the link you provided. And there's also one more thing you can add in here. You can use the target attribute, which is going to be providing blank. And if you use the blank one, it's going to open the link. That's not correct. I don't know why it's not doing that. And let me just restart my live server real quick. Okay, I restarted my live server. I still don't know why that happened. But if you click the link right now, it's going to open in a new tab, and you have the website still in this one if you use the blank tag, or if you use this underscore itself, it's gonna open in the same tab like this. And if you don't provide any of the targets, it's just gonna open in the tab. So the self target is more to just show other people looking at your code or yourself that this link opens in the same tab, uh, despite it not being necessary if you actually just don't care if it opens in a new tab or not, because it's just going to open in the same window if you just leave it unchanged. But there's also one other different type of making a link. You might have multiple files, so let's make a new file called what can we call it, like games.html, and we just create a skeleton here, and we create on the body. Actually, we don't even need. Actually, let's do that. Let's add a image tag of our Japanese picture, and then we just. Actually, I'm gonna do it. A Japanese store. I'm just gonna do it even faster because this doesn't really matter right now. I'm just gonna try and show this to you. So we are gonna add this and call it a games tab. Like that. So now we have a new HTML file in our project, because you can have multiple, because you need one for each different page you want. So instead of linking to google.com, we can just remove this. And the same way linked our image in our project, we can actually link to other HTML files. So for example, right now there's no folder, so we can just type straight up games.html. And what that's going to do is when we can click Control S and we click this link, it's gonna open. Okay, I need to restart my live server again for some reason. I don't know. Okay, I still don't know why I need to restart my live server, and it's kind of making me a bit mad, but whatever. If you click on the link now, it's gonna show the image, which I haven't set a width to, so it's just gonna be way too big, and also it's gonna say Games tab up here. So you can use you can link to different HTML files instead of just linking to websites. Also, there is one last thing I want to point out, which is a more advanced, but not really that advanced. So imagine a world where you have an image, but you don't want to have this link below it. That looks kind of bad. Like maybe click this link, looks like a scam link. You just want them to click on the image, maybe. Ooh, could you make it like click on the image? Yes, you can. So the only thing you have to do to actually do that is we're gonna remove this space. So we put them beside each other. And we have to update it. Now we have it beside each other. And what we're gonna do is just gonna copy this, remove it, and you see where we have is click this epic link, which is the thing that's actually displayed on the screen, like here. You can use everything put inside of these crocodile knobs are actually shown on the screen as the link. So what if we just take the whole image tag and just put an image here? Is it just gonna show the image? Yes, it will. So now we have an image inside of the A tag, as you can see here. And what this means is that we can actually click the image and boom, we have a image that works as a link. But that's all for this video. Hope you enjoyed and see you in the next one.